Hello, everyone, and welcome into B&T Sports Talk Show. I'm your boy T, and next to me none other than B, and we're here with y'all as I find myself in the frame here. Here with y'all another wonderful Sunday evening as we've been catching some NBA playoff basketball, which I'm pretty sure y'all have been catching too, hopefully. And we're getting down to the nitty gritty. We're almost down to the point where we know who will be competing for the NBA championship. So fun stuff. If this is your first time listening to us, hey, go ahead and check out our old videos. Give us a like on this video and subscribe. We appreciate it. B, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. A little sun drenched. Was out with the family today, outside of my sister who's playing softball in I think Martinez.
Oh, okay.
Was with my mom and dad today. Watching the Giants game. They got a sweep, but unfortunately, I also got sunburn, as you can see right underneath here, kind of up here in the arms as well. It was a good time though, man. It was a pretty sold out crowd. As my dad would say, it was Rugrat Day today. There are a lot of kids at the ballpark today,
It's the weekend.
running around. They were given I think the promo today was like kid socks, so they definitely had the kids in full force, which is pretty cool, man. On a Sunday afternoon, sunny, warm day in the Bay Area. Why not why not bring the kids to that? But as my dad would say, it's Rugrat Day at the ballpark. But other than that, it was pretty good, man. I can't complain.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, hey, it's the weekend, nice weather. Families are going to be out spending hundreds of dollars on garbage chicken tenders and hot dogs for their kids. So it sounds like a good time.
It definitely sounds like an expensive time, if you ask me.
Oh man, yeah, you got that right. Well, games are still ongoing. We still have Denver and Minnesota. Right now it's 45-59, so Denver has a 14-point lead. So Minnesota's trying to make a little bit of a comeback. They were down by as many as 20, and now they've cut it down to a 12-point game. So we'll see if they can make some ends and try to make this interesting at least. After the blowout earlier today, I at least want to see a good game. And we'll be talking about how we feel about these conference finals. And we'll give you guys an update as we continue to watch the game, because I'll be watching to see if it's worth watching really at this point. But let's jump in. I guess we'll start with the game earlier today. The Pacers and the Knicks went to Game 7, and it was a flop. Man, I mean, the Knicks didn't get it done, man. Game 7, no. Madison Square Garden, and they get just blasted. And, look, man, I know there's a lot of people who are out there trying to say that the league is doing any and everything it can to support big markets, but I don't know.
That's a lie. That's a lie.
I mean, I guess they at least got the ticket sales and concessions from the Game 7 in Madison Square Garden, but they did not. This was not a great game at all, man. Brunson obviously got hurt. They tried to give OG Anunoby a chance to go, and he wasn't himself and did not play much of this game at all. The Knicks just did not have enough to get this done. The Pacers came in pretty confident, man. Halliburton started off knocking down threes, and I believe they shot something crazy like close to 70% from the field for the entire game.
Yeah.
Which is,
I think it was like 62 or 63% from the field.
Yeah.
They were lights out today.
So, I mean, there wasn't a whole lot that I think the Knicks were going to be able to do, especially being hampered with the injuries they had going on. They got their butts roasted. And Brunson wasn't having a good game at all and ended up getting injured, fracturing his hand. So, yeah, man, I give the Knicks an A+ for effort, but they got to get their full squad together in order to make this a game that would have been worth watching. Unfortunately, they didn't have enough, man. They had a bunch of guys out there. They had some role players out there trying to make it happen, and DiVincenzo and Hart and whoever else weren't going to get it done, man.
Well, let's not forget Hart was also banged up going into this game as well. Right, I guess he strained his stomach muscle or whatever in Game 6, so he wasn't feeling 100% here. So, yeah, were the Knicks shorthanded? They were. But look, the bottom line is it's Game 7 at your house. The NBA got what they wanted, which is the mecca of basketball, hosting a Game 7. I think it was the first time in like 20 years, since
probably, yeah.
since like in the early 2000s, since they had this, you had a rivalry between the Pacers and the Knicks, which stemmed back from the late early 90s, I believe. So everything was for the proper setting here. Shit, it even had me, I had my phone on watching Game 7 while trying to watch a baseball game as well.
Yeah.
And man, the Pacers style of offense is a big problem here. And they just, the minute there's a basket, they're up and down the court,
Yeah.
from free throw line to free throw line in a matter of 3 seconds. There was a telegraph. You could see the difference on how open of a three they were getting because the Knicks just weren't getting back on defense here, and it tired them out as this game continued. But I mean, you have to credit the Pacers for coming out and shooting lights out as well.
Yeah,
When
did.
teams are doing that, you and I know you're not matching that, unless you're shooting 67% from the field as well. But if you're not matching that, it's just hard to recover. Now the Knicks made a ferocious comeback. They had it down within single digits, I think in the third quarter, right?
Early in the third.
Yeah. And so they had a chance to really affect the game, and the Pacers said, you know what? Let's push this back up to 18. The minute it got back up to 18, they couldn't get it back any closer than that.
Yeah, and this is the thing about Game 7s, right? Because any team can have that one game where they just go off. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so this was one of those situations as well. It's really a combination of a lot of bad things that happened happened to the Knicks. I mean, the Pacers can't miss a shot. And then you've got injuries all over the place. Big three by Minnesota. There, it's now a 9-point game. So Minnesota's down by 9, 50-59, with 6 minutes in the third. But yeah, man, they just had so much bad going on. It was crazy, and I can't even fault the Knicks. I felt like they did what they could do. But like you said, man, 54% from three, 67% from the field. I mean,
man.
there wasn't a whole lot. There's a few teams that would have lost this game, and so sorry, Spike Lee. Maybe next year.
Yeah, man, they had the who's who of people there too. I love that they had a lot of the old Knick players, Stephon Marbury.
Right.
Who's the guy that I'm thinking?
Sorry to interrupt. Another 53-59. Minnesota down by 6. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh man, you're a little ahead of me right now. It's 59-50. Nuggets. I think you said Knicks too.
I did. I'm sorry. Nuggets, not Knicks.
Oh,
the
man.
Golden Nuggets.
Stark was also at the game too. What's his first name? John Starks. Yeah.
Stephon Marbury.
Dude, I love watching Stephon Marbury watch basketball, man. That boy was
losing his mind
on the baseline. He was losing it here. I would lose it too if my team was getting their ass whooped in Game 7 of the NBA Finals. Or not in the NBA Finals, but the Eastern Conference semi. Sorry, man. The sun really got to me today.
Yeah, it's all good, man.
I think the big thing too is that Miles Turner, I think, was probably the big ordeal for them today. All series long, he had really not hit a whole lot of 3-pointers. I think he hit 3 today. That's how you know you're winning a game, is a guy who doesn't shoot well from 3 starts shooting well from 3 to say. So,
well, not only that, but Aaron Nesmith, did you see that? The guy went 8 for 8 from the field. He literally did not miss a shot and had 19 points.
Who's the big firecracker for them now? McDowell,
TJ McConnell. Is that who
McConnell? I was getting close. I was getting close there.
They're like McDowell's.
McDonald's, McDowell, I was getting there eventually. But look, man, that extra hustle play, the turnover, on the inbounds play after scoring a 3, he steals the ball. Naismith goes up for a layup as well.
Yeah.
And then it's an and one after that. Just the domino effect that was taking place just kept pushing the Knicks further and further here. And it's very hard. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. It literally was like they couldn't miss a shot.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like.
Like they could have thrown it from half court and it was probably going in, to say the least, So, but we give credit to the Pacers. They showed up, they wanted it more. They played here. Everybody stepped up. Tyrese Halliburton had a Game 7 to remember here. From the jump. He was he was dominant there. So, um, when's the last time the Pacers were in the Eastern Conference Finals?
I mean, since they got
Can
ousted by the Lakers back in the day. I mean, I don't even
I
think
think so?
I don't think
Yeah.
they made it during. I don't think they ever made it during
No, I
Paul
think it.
George
I
years.
think they did make it once to the Paul George years because they played Miami. They had a nice little
Okay,
rivalry with Miami, so
yeah,
I think that was
they
it
had a nice
there.
little rivalry with LeBron because they also played the
Yeah.
Cavs too.
Who doesn't have a nice rivalry with
Yes,
LeBron? You know what I'm
yes,
saying? So, you know, kudos to that. You had the Knicks winning it in six. I had the
I
Pacers
was
winning it
wrong.
in six. So, I mean, we were both wrong. But I'm about if the Wolves don't win tonight, I'm gonna be 0 for 4 in NBA semifinal picks.
Yeah. Well, it's been up and down. I mean, the good thing is these series have been pretty good. I mean, outside of the Boston series, which I think we're gonna jump into and talk about. But I guess, actually, yeah, I guess we could jump in that. But yeah, I think the series have been good overall.
Yeah,
In these five, like I said, that was the only 5 game series. Everything else has been big still by
6 or 7.
Miami, big still by Minnesota. Excuse me, 57-61. So now Denver's lead has been cut from 20 down to 4. So that's a good game going on there. But yeah, so yeah, but let's. I'm sorry, you're getting interrupted by this game, but let's go to the Celtics and the Cavs, which I don't know if there's a whole lot to talk about in this series. To be honest with you,
There's nothing.
this was a gentleman's sweep, just like they did in the first series, where they let them get one game at home and made them feel like, oh, we beat them in game 2 in Boston, we got a chance, and then they just kind of killed them the rest of the way.
They
Donovan
sure did.
Donovan Mitchell missing the last couple of games of the playoffs probably wasn't very good either. Um, and, I don't know. I never got the sense of a real urgency from the Celtics in this series. Um, they not only did miss it, also Jared Allen was also out for a
Yeah,
majority of this series. So it just, I mean, the Cavs, Evan Mobley played pretty well. Darius Garland didn't really do a lot for me to get
he played
excited
like
about.
boo boo.
Yeah, it's just
He was
not a lot
terrible.
going on here. So all I'm gonna say about this series is when we look at the Cavs, they ever since the Donovan Mitchell trade, I mean, do you see? I mean, I guess I could say they made some improvements, but I don't know if we're looking at this team and saying that they could be a number 2 or number 3 seed. I mean, what do you think, B?
I don't think they're really that much of a better team. When you look at their starters, that's it.
Yeah,
You can't really name me one guy that comes off the bench that really sticks out, outside of Darius, Garland. But Garland had to be thrown into the starting
yeah,
role
he did.
because
Yeah,
of Donovan Mitchell's injury here. So I think they may just say, you know what, do we go younger? Do we get rid of some of this high salary here? Because remember, Donovan Mitchell is going to cost them some money.
yeah,
You're going to have to pay Evan Mobley. He's coming up on his rookie contract's about to expire.
and they're
Jared
already
Allen,
playing.
you bet. I mean, yeah, Jared Allen is, you really don't want to put too much money in a center like that. So they may have to be forced to go young. And, I know the Warriors need a good bench point guard. Donovan Mitchell wants to, come over to Golden State and kind of hang out with us for a couple of years. We'll pay you for it. But yeah, I think this experiment in Cleveland is about to get disassembled here.
Yeah,
I just don't think they have the right pieces starting and bench wise to get them to kind of compete. And the Eastern Conference, you're really looking at one team that you really have to level yourself to. That's the Boston Celtics. To
yeah,
be quite
yeah.
honest
You're
with
in
you.
the East. Yeah,
So if you're not within that level of competition with the Celtics here, you may have to move somewhere else where you can find yourself in that position.
yeah, and I agree with you on that. The Cavs have to say, should we really take on all this just to be the 4th or 5th seed in the East? I know they're hoping LeBron comes back, but that probably ain't gonna happen.
No, I don't think so.
And I gotta say, they got a lot of money tied up in Allen and Darius Garland, who's making just as much as I believe his contract is on almost on the same level as what Donovan Mitchell is making for this season, or coming up. So yeah, they got some decisions they got to make for sure. And I know a team that could use Donovan Mitchell. I mean, Lakers,
Are you
hello.
saying the
Yeah.
Clippers?
No. What? They already got 3 stars, man. What they need a fourth one for. So yeah, man. So if that opportunity presents itself, then yeah, I mean, I think a lot of teams will be hunting for Donovan Mitchell to try to get them added to their roster. My team being the first in line, along with a few others. But yeah, I agree with you, man. Cavs are mediocre, man. Like they kind of always been since LeBron left. I think they'll kind of continue to be mediocre, man.
Yeah, you're looking at it right. Like right now, you're looking at a 4 seed in the Cavs, which is right there for the Eastern Conference. But if you just remove Donovan Mitchell from that team there, that's a 7-8 seed
Yeah,
all day.
right,
I don't see
right,
them being
right,
anything higher than that. So
right.
that's how much he can impact the team. But I also feel like that's not going to be a spot for him to try to win a championship. It just won't be.
I don't think so. I don't think. Let's keep in mind, folks, that hadn't been a championship in Cleveland before LeBron for how long?
Yeah,
Like 50 years or
forever,
something like that.
forever,
so
something like that.
so you got to keep that in
See,
mind.
some generations died before then.
So you definitely, yeah, exactly. You got to definitely keep that in mind. Just an update on the game. 56 seconds left in the third. Oh, that was a weird call.
It's a 2-point game.
I've got it at a 4-point game with 56 seconds left.
That was a goaltend?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Goaltend?
That was not a goaltend, man. I mean, what do you? I mean, that looked like that was off, right?
No, that's not a goaltend. It hit the rim. It wasn't. It was going away from the hoop.
Yeah, I don't.
How do you call that a goaltend?
I don't know, man. They're in Denver.
It doesn't make sense here.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's preview the Eastern Conference Finals here. Celtics back in it again for I think the third straight year, and then the Pacers finding themselves in it in a very long time here. So, T, give me your quick thought of this Eastern Conference championship preview here.
Yeah, no. So I really like what the Pacers do offensively. They play at an extremely fast pace, and that's kind of their MO is they want to get the rebound and get downhill quickly. They can really open up the floor by having, they've got a center that can shoot from the 3-point line, which helps open things up for guys like, big steal by Edwards with the dunk. It is a 2-point game. I'm just kidding. And so I think for the Pacers are going to have to elevate their defense. I thought they played pretty well against the Knicks, especially in that game 7. But they were also playing against a team towards the end of this game that had 0 All-Stars, and they were kind of looking at a team that didn't have really much of any offense going on, to be honest with you. So wait, they called a foul? What happened? What was that? He fouled Jokic?
I don't know.
That's garbage, man. Anyway, so I think they're going to have to elevate their game a lot because now you're going to take on Tatum and Brown, and they're not going to be able to. You're not guarding Josh Hart anymore. You're not guarding Dante DiVincenzo anymore. These guys can get their own bucket legitimately, and Halliburton won't be able to necessarily hide. So they're gonna have to elevate that defensive game. That's not a foul, man. Come on, man. They're just bumping each other. Yeah, whatever. But they're gonna have to step their game up because do they have it now. You could take Drew Holiday and put him on Halliburton, which is going to make his life a little bit more difficult as well. Porzingis, I don't know if he's coming back or not. I have no idea what's happening with that situation. But even with Horton, Al Horton and who else they got in there is big. I think that's kind of it. They don't play. They don't really play
kind
center.
of it. They really don't have a big. Yeah.
Oh, 3-point shot by Edwards. 1-point game going into the fourth. We got a game on our hands.
I think for me, the Pacers are just going to have to keep that frenetic pace going. Yeah. They can't allow the Celtics to get into a defensive set here. I think the biggest turnout will be if Porzingis is out for 2 games. They have to look at getting greedy and trying to. If they get one, if they could get game 1, you got to go game 2. But Miles Turner has to be big for them because there's no one on the Celtics that can honestly guard him outside of the 3-point lane, but inside. So he may have to live a little more inside for the Pacers to really have a good chance before Porzingis does come back. But Derek White is probably going to be the biggest factor for the
Yeah.
Celtics in this series here, because he if he continues the trend that he's on right now, there's really no one stopping the Celtics. But like you said, the Pacers are going from bench bench players to legitimate starters. You know, a really scary defensive team here. The only way you're really going to stand a chance inside of this is just going up and down the court, keeping the same mentality here. You have to live downhill. You
Yeah.
can't allow Boston to get anywhere remote set other than, because if you do, they're gonna send a trap directly to Halliburton here. They're gonna force the ball out of his hands here,
Right.
and you're gonna rely on Naismith. You're gonna rely on Miles Turner here.
Right.
Realistically, can you rely on those two to win a series without Halliburton getting any points?
Right. Yeah, and that's going to be difficult. Obviously, they had a game today where you got guys like Neesmith and what's the guy Oldmar, or what's his name? Oh, Nimbard.
Nimwad.
Nim. They both went for like 20 points, and that's going to be a little bit more difficult to do when you're matched up. Even guys like Pritchard, who come off the bench for the Celtics, play extremely hard and can knock down open threes. So yeah, it's gonna be a tall task for the Pacers. I don't know if they can elevate their defensive game enough to survive a series against the Celtics, especially with the Celtics having home field advantage and no real injury that we can speak of outside of Porzingis, which hasn't really hampered them that much. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the Celtics to take down the Pacers, and I think it's gonna be another 5-game series, another gentleman's sweep. I just don't see a
Damn,
scenario.
you're not giving them any chance, bro. Good lord.
Well, it's because I'm just being honest. I mean, you're
Yeah.
playing a team in the Knicks that is not of the same ilk or caliber as the players you're going to see at the next level. And I just don't. We're talking about going from Jalen Brunson, DiVincenzo, and Josh Hart to Jalen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Derek White, and you could throw Drew Holiday in there if you want to.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, you can.
these guys it's not the same caliber of player. And I just feel like they were able to bottle up Jalen Brunson a couple of games out of the series, but Jalen also went off on him a few times too. So now you're going to have to figure out, okay, how we got to take the ball away from Tatum, but then we also have to make sure Brown goes off, but then we also have to make sure that White doesn't catch a slipping. So it's a different defensive strategy that you have to take, and guys are going to have to stay in front of the man in front of them. They can't just focus in on one
Yeah.
guy like they did the Knicks, where it's like, yeah, well, if Jalen Brunson doesn't score, I mean, the game's over. So it's not going to be like that
Yeah.
this time around. I just don't think they have enough to do it.
I'm gonna get crazy. Obviously, you know me.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna take the Pacers, and I'm gonna say the Pacers are gonna win this in
Uh-oh.
6 here. Because here's the only thing: they have a really good home court advantage too, and the Celtics, like you said, have been vulnerable to give up one. They gave up a game to each team at home, but I think there's just something about this Pacers team that's telling me that the way that they're just gonna pace the offense, it's not going to work well. The Warriors kind of did the same thing back in 2020 in the championship, where they kept the pace at a very high level here, and it's going to tire them out because honestly, Boston doesn't play that kind of style of offense.
Yeah.
The thing for the Pacers, though, is they have to defend the 3-point line.
Yeah. Yeah.
Boston loves that 3-point line, and they love living from it there. So it's going to be a tall task, but I'm just going to be a little sideways on it, and I am going to take the Pacers to win this series and go to the NBA Finals in 6.
Wow, picking the upset. Quick update, folks. The Nuggets are now losing. The Minnesota Timberwolves have taken a 3-point lead in Game 7. It is now
Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Ant-Man is him.
Yeah,
He's doing it.
It is now 70-67 at the beginning of the fourth, but they got a long ways to go. But this is a game, folks. This is a game.
Let's just be honest right now. Let's talk about this game for a little bit since both of our eyeballs are glued to this here. Let's be honest. The Wolves bench is 10 times better than the Nuggets. Let's just put that. Let's just finish that one real quick. The bench production that is getting from the Wolves is outdoing what the Nuggets. So what the Nuggets are forced to do is play Joker 40 plus minutes. You
Yeah.
got to play Jamal Murray 40 plus minutes. You got to, all these starters are going to have to go 40 plus minutes
Right.
where you can miss a little bit of downtime for the Wolves and you're still going to get somewhat of a production from it.
Right.
That's what's separating them. And I think that's what has led to them going from 20 points down to an out 3-point lead because they've got the guys who can come off the bench and give you 5 or 6 points.
Absolutely. And a lot of that is Nas Reed, who is
McDaniels.
exactly. And the other thing is they just didn't look like they had their feet up under him to start the game. They looked a little nervous. Now you're starting to see them play with that intensity, and the guys are starting to make plays. So I think what you're seeing, like what you're also seeing, is the ref. What I've noticed too is the refs they're really letting them play. Guys are really banging. They're letting them bang on Jokic. Guys are they're really making them have to play more of a physical game, and that's
Which
really
is fine.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I love it.
Yeah, but it's not the way the Nuggets want to play. The Nuggets don't
No.
necessarily they want to play more of a finesse game. Big three by Michael Porter Jr. to tie the game, so now it's 72-72. But yeah, man, I just wanted a good game. And, both these teams have been pretty well matched. They've had a couple of blowout games against each other. But when they get a good game, it's a good... Gobert has no business. They need to take him out the post immediately. But this is very interesting because the Nuggets, like you said, they have Jokic, best player. Jamal Murray is always this weird question mark because as much as we talk about him, he's not an all-star. He's never been on anybody's all-star list.
Yeah.
And he's a guy that has had good seasons and has been injured or has had not so good seasons. And so this is one of those situations where the Nuggets have thrived on being able to execute in the fourth quarter to beat many a team. So I'm really curious to see how they do, against this Minnesota team who is really starting to believe that they got a chance. Not that they didn't believe before, but earlier in this game they were down 20 points, so it wasn't looking too good.
You could see a team that's never played a game 7 before in the first half that's never been a part of it.
What did you? Well, you'll see it in a second. But yeah, they're going back and forward here. And they're starting to double Jokic on the post. Oh, Jokic for 3? No, didn't get it.
Oh, that was a big shot by Conley. Yeah. But yeah, just back to it here. You know what? I lost my train of thought.
Yeah, I know, right?
Let's just move on to the Mavs and Thunder here. Yeah. That was a great series here. A young Thunder team started showing why they were young, to say. The game 6 kind of got a little much for them. They couldn't really get things going here. They brought it back to within a close game. SGA had a great game 6 here. But as far as everyone else around him here, it really wasn't that big. They didn't have that big impact there. But Luka and Kyrie, man, they're playing.
Oh man,
they're playing well. But I think the game 6 for them was the role players, likely PJ Washington Jr.
Yeah.
Who else is the backup to Likely here? I'm blanking on his name.
Gafford. Daniel Gafford.
Gafford had a really good game as well. Tim Hardaway Jr. had some important buckets at important times. So you saw the difference between a veteran team and a young team here. I think the Thunder are going to be here to stay. I think they're just going to have to build that bench a little more here to be able to compete. But that was an entertaining series, man. I was really hoping for a game 7, 3 game 7s in one round. But
we almost got it.
What did you think about it?
I mean, I have to say, I've said it before on the last show. This Dallas team is becoming scary because I think before there was this idea that we couldn't have Luka and Kyrie on this floor at the same time and find enough shots to get around. Now, these guys have gotten much more comfortable with each other. Kyrie doesn't feel like he has to dominate the ball and is doing a lot of the effort stuff on defense, on loose balls. You're starting to see him really, really just do what is required of him. And I think him being more of a selfless player has rubbed off on everyone. And so you take these two great scorers and surround them with all this young talent. Derrick Jones Jr., we talked about P.J. Washington, Gafford Likely, Tim Hardaway Jr., who's actually a vet. He's been in the league for a little while. And now you're starting to see these guys are galvanized. Now they're all contributing. Yeah. They're all playing defense. Doncic is playing some of the best defense he's ever played in his whole career. And guys are really starting. I'm serious. These guys are really starting to believe in the next man. And so I think that's what makes them a special team. They went up against one of the better defensive teams in the entire league for most of the season in OKC. And they went up against a team that had ways to really get at you from different places with SGA and Chet Holmgren and Jalen Williams. And, these guys have been touted throughout the entire season as being, the young, spry, defensive monster of a team with SGA. And they got it done. And I think what's most impressive is in that last game, they had to actually win it. It wasn't one of those games where they blew them out or there was some mistake. They had to go in and they had to battle and they had to actually take that game in order to move on to the next round. I thought that was very impressive of Dallas because in this Doncic era, we haven't really seen that. And so now we're looking at a team that it actually is acting as if they belong. And so I think that's a dangerous team, especially with those two veterans, with those two guys with Doncic and Kyrie on the same roster.
But you know what the crazy part is we're only in year 6 of Luka. It feels like he's been in the league forever. Yeah, it does feel but it's only year 6 of Luka. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Here, as I was watching Game 6, this is what kind of it just blew my mind. The Mavs had no challenges at the end of the game because they decided to waste them in the second quarter.
Yeah, Jason Kidd.
On just that they shouldn't have been. But I think the problem with that, and I start to see this trend around the league, is that the coaches are allowing the superstars or the players dictate what needs to be challenged.
Yeah.
Right. I give credit to the Laker coaches for not challenging and letting them, now granted it didn't work out in their favor. They should have challenged it. I'm just saying that. But the coaching, I think the coaching staff, because look, there was a play in the fourth quarter that the Mavs could have challenged and had the ball, but it was out on the Thunder here. It was late in the game. They didn't have any challenges. That's the whole point of having a challenge, is when it matters. You don't challenge in the first half. The game's not that one play in the game is not detected in the first half. You need to take that to the second half with you.
Now
they didn't have any.
Now they did get that challenge inside of I believe it was inside of a minute at the very end of the game where we saw the 3-point foul. But
that was OKC. But that was OKC calling that challenge.
Right. I thought it was. I just thought it was really fun to see two teams just go back and forth in heated moments and guys make big shot after big shot after big shot. And man. So I got to give OKC a lot of credit. They were the number 1 seed, but much like the Grizzlies of last year, whenever you're coming in and you're that young up and coming team, sometimes you're just not prepared for that next step. And that's all this is. OKC is going to get another opportunity to be better. And they've got all the draft capital in the world. If they wanted to add more talent to their roster, they can certainly do so during the offseason. So this by no means is a team that peaked and suddenly is going to disappear. Because for one, they don't have John Morant getting in issues to mess up their season. But they will be right back here next year, competing for those top 3 seeds in the West next season. And they might even go out and find some talent to add to their roster as well. But they're going to be a good team for a long time. So I like what OKC's doing.
I think what they should look to do is we all know how many first round draft picks they have. We all know how many teams need first round draft picks that don't have them. You have some leverage to go get yourself some veteran players to mesh with this young core to be even better. Like you said, this is a very young team that was the number 1 seed in the toughest conference the NBA has seen in a very, very long time.
Right.
So just imagine just a little bit of a veteran presence.
Oh yeah.
you can give away a couple of
Yes.
first round draft picks.
Right.
You have your players. It's a match made perfect for the Thunder. They did this right. All those years of sucking is now working for them in this realm here. So I think they may move a couple of first round
They
draft picks. You can see a couple of veterans
yes.
wanting to come play because it's an exciting team to play for.
Yeah.
You know?
Imagine if they imagine a world where they get rid of that silly Gordon Hayward trade that they made and get him off their roster and add somebody like Russell Westbrook. I know people think that might not be much, but to bring him back and have him back up that team, just stuff like that. That's what you're looking for.
God.
You can bring back a veteran or two just to give you a little bit of a lift off the bench, especially since they don't have a premier backup point guard. Guy like Russell Westbrook, you bring him in, he could come back to OKC, even though he loves being in LA, and continue to compete with the team that's really fighting for something. So a little move like that can go a long way for OKC.
Or how about this for a move?
Who you got?
Would they bring back Kevin Durant?
Oh, here we go. After calling him Cupcake, they're gonna bring him back. Oh man,
would it not be the perfect scenario for that team?
Yeah, but I think he's kind of has to stay in Phoenix now, doesn't he?
He doesn't have to do anything. He could. I mean, man, that guy's been on a world tour more than the Kiss. You know what I'm saying?
Man, he taking that unbrushed bald spot all over
Phoenix
the world.
Phoenix needs something, right? Look, that big three is not going to work, and it ain't going to work anytime soon.
Yeah.
Right? Can the OKC fan base forgive Kevin Durant for leaving them, going to Golden State, getting those 2 championships? Imagine if Kevin Durant could give OKC a championship with that core.
Oh yeah, if he could win honestly, one to OKC, that'd be crazy.
That is not a bad fit for Kevin Durant to go to. I really don't think it's a bad idea here. He's at the tail end of his career. He's got about 3 solid years left.
And it's a
Why
place.
not?
It's a place where he'll actually get a statue.
Well, I don't know yet. They still haven't even given him his flowers since he's left.
He wins the championship there.
Video for the man.
If he gets a championship there, he gets a statue straight up. I mean, OKC hasn't won. I mean, they haven't won anything because this is their only professional. Do they have another professional team? I mean, I think this is it, right? Outside of college.
For Oklahoma, outside of college, college, I think this is about as close as it gets.
Yeah, so I mean, man, I gotta tell you, it would be huge.
Crazy.
But I don't know, man. I feel like I don't see him leaving Phoenix. They're gonna try to keep that group together. That's why they fired the coach. And they're going to let them pick a coach, which is going to be terrible. Like the whole Steve Nash saga.
They have their coach already.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Budenholzer.
Button wiper. Button wiper.
The German guy. Yeah.
The German guy. They got him. who was relieved of his duties in, where was he?
But
he
Giannis.
Was with Giannis.
Milwaukee. I don't know why they fired him. He was a championship winning coach. He was like, maybe
they fired him the year after they won the championship. They were like, "Thank you, we're done with you."
And then fired the trophy. And then fired that coach, and then hired Doc Rivers.
And thought this was the greatest move since sliced bread. And by the way, the coach that they fired he was sitting in the number 1 seed.
Exactly. He sure was. He sure was.
Yeah,
what a block.
What are we looking at?
What a block. Edwards going all the way to the rim, gets fouled. Oh, they didn't call a foul? Wow, okay. Did somebody just throw something on the court?
Hey, we didn't even talk about that. The fact that Jamal Murray threw a heating pad.
Yeah.
And only got a $10,000 fine, and he could have ruined some people's careers. Yet Rudy Gobert does the money sign and is damn near fined almost $100,000.
Almost the same. Almost the same.
Does that make any sense?
Dude, I think oh man, here come the refs. The refs are trying to get in this. The Minnesota's up 83-78 with 5 minutes and 43 seconds to go. And Edwards goes to the basket. Exactly. And Edwards goes to the back. He gets raked across the arm. They don't call a foul, call out of bounds. And then they call a offensive foul on the Nuggets coming out of that inbound.
Rudy Gobert.
Yeah, so the Nuggets are they're trying. We'll see if Minnesota can hang in there. But yeah, man, I thought that was
Well,
stupid because I thought throwing something on the court where you could have injured a player would have been a way more egregious thing than just making a signal with your hands.
a $10,000 fine for throwing a heating
Well,
pack
he got
onto
he
the
got
court.
he got 100
He
grand.
threw, was it 100 grand?
It
He
was
should have been
100, but he
suspended.
should have been suspended because he didn't just throw that. Remember, he threw a towel too.
Yup.
And so this guy, okay, so we got Nas Reed goes to the rim.
Sissy.
Nas Reed goes to the rim, goes right past Jokic, who is not interested in blocking anybody, hits the layup, 85-80.
He's just standing there like a statue. He's going to try to take a charge. What in the hell was that?
That's his MO, man.
Hey, Nathan Becerra, man, Cookie Boy Breaks in the building.
What's
Welcome,
up,
Nate. Hey, by the way, if you guys have TikTok and watching our show here, check out Cookie Boy Breaks, man. He's got great deals on a break here. Pull some straight fire here. Nate, remind me, I saw you just pull a big card not too long ago here. Go check it out, man. Go get into one of his breaks. It's fun. It's exciting here. The guy does a really good job. We enjoyed having him on our show as well, talking sports cards, which I think we should kind of resurface once again here.
Yeah.
But yeah, go check out Cookie Boy Breaks on TikTok with us here.
Yeah, man. Hey, I was watching a show on Netflix where it was basically this show about this huge company that sells sports memorabilia. And that got me thinking about that. Where these guys,
Gildan,
yeah,
Gildan or something like that.
Yeah. These guys are buying $20,000 cases and opening them up on the net. I thought that was absolutely crazy to see how much some of those cards actually went for or got appraised for. The kid that came in with the Steph Curry card that was worth $185,000.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
jeez Louise,
gosh.
Man. Good God. I'd have robbed that kid right in front of him.
Oh man.
Here's the worst part, man. Here we are. You just had a birthday. I'm approaching 40 myself here.
Yeah.
And there's this 10-year-old pulling $100,000 card.
Oh, yeah.
And here we are having to go to work Tuesday to Saturday, Monday through Friday here. And this kid's college fund is already set. What are they doing in this industry, man? I hate them little punk-ass kids.
All I can say is I wish I kept all of my crap from the 90s because then I'd be a millionaire, man. All my Ninja Turtle crap, all that stuff I had, man, if I could have kept it, I'd be a millionaire by now.
Let's see here. Some of these kids have some of these kids have cards that are worth like, small house deposits or at least a year worth of rent here in the Bay Area. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And, they're just sitting there going, oh, yeah, look at me. My dad spent all this money. I'm a 12-year-old and I got this $100,000 card. I'm like, yo, man, like, I'd slap you across the face if I could. Right. If it didn't mean I was getting in trouble for it.
Yeah, I think the one I was watching, I got to catch up on it, was where they were looking for the triple logo LeBron card that supposedly will be worth $1 million.
Oh, dude! So I watched the whole documentary. They do find it, and you know what? I'm not going to talk about the company that did. So they got that card from guys who do break. I'm not going to bring up their name because I don't like them. I can't stand them. Cookie Boy Breaks probably knows who I'm referring to. We're not going to talk about them here.
All right.
Because they've really put a bad taste in the industry in my mind. Everybody loves them. I hate what they stand for. I hate what they do. But anyways, they did pull it. And then it went off to get graded. I think it got a really high grade. And that card they called it a bounty. So it was $1 million bounty for that card.
Ooh, man.
It's wild.
Yeah,
wild.
That is wild, man. That is wild.
So as this game goes on, before we break down the Western Conference Championship, the NFL schedule came out, bro.
Yeah, it did. It's out.
NFL finds a way in May to make all of us remember that football is right around the corner.
You got that right. It's coming.
The Raiders schedule is definitely out, man. Outside of your division, who are you really looking forward to your matchups here? You got an exciting season coming up here. Like, what are you looking forward to in these matchups here?
Well, man, the first thing I notice is the strength of schedule this season, and it looks good. I like it. Oh, I couldn't get it. Oh, foul. Wow, so this game is close. And I kind of like it, man. I mean, the one great thing about the Raiders is our division outside of the Kansas City Chiefs sucks. So we got opportunity to be in the wild card every year. The Chargers have been underachieving these past couple of years, even with Herbert. And the Broncos are just dog water. They're garbage. It's the most let's see. Just to give you kind of a brief, we got the Chargers to start. We got the Ravens. That's probably going to be the hardest game on our schedule outside of the two Chief games. And then we got the Panthers, the Browns, the Broncos, the Steelers, the Rams. I mean, you know what I mean? Like this is.
I don't sleep on the Browns.
Yeah, I won't. The
Browns
you're right.
were a decent team last year.
Yeah,
don't
but
sleep
I mean,
on that one.
But they don't even have the same quarterback. They're bringing back Deshaun Watson. So
Massage Watson.
Yeah,
Massage Watson.
The tickler. Go start calling the diddler. Diddler Watson.
Diddler.
Deshaun
Diddler
Watson. The Messus Tickler. Oh, man. Yeah, so I think one of the biggest games to highlight here, I'm looking forward to the game against the Chiefs, obviously. The first one is in Vegas in late October, so around Halloween, October 27th. I think I like the idea of them playing. They're playing the Saints. I think it's going to be fun to see Derek Carr play against his former team and to see if he still got it or if he can make something happen. Oh, a huge block on Jokic. Minnesota is gaining ground, folks. Anyway, so yeah, getting back. So yeah, that game against the Saints, because of Derek Carr being involved, I kind of like that as a matchup. And I hope the Saints are good this year. That'll make it even better. Even though Derek Carr is long gone, I was a Derek Carr fan, so I can't, I would love to see him match up against his former team, see how he plays.
Yes, sir. And then Cookie Boy Breaks, dude, he's helping us out in the chat here. Says he can't wait for the Jets for the Niners. I think the NFL just hates Aaron Rodgers at this point because you're going to make him go over to San Francisco on Monday Night Football against one of the league's best defenses after coming off an Achilles injury and then having to play that in your first game. Cookie Boy, let us know what matchups you're looking forward to in the NFL or for the Niners here. Give us your favorite picks in the Niners. It does look like Minnesota is getting ready to put Denver to bed pretty soon here.
Let's go.
Every Laker fan has been waiting for this here. We got no ill will because we could beat Denver's away.
I do.
Man, so
I do. Mark Malone, Post Malone, Mike Malone, whatever his name is, former coach of the Kings. Oh,
but
man.
For the Ravens got a really, really good schedule to come out here. Obviously, they're gonna open up this season in Kansas City on banner night for that game. That's gonna be a good one there. They go to the Texans as well, so I think that's gonna be a really good matchup. And I think that the one I really like the most is going to be against the Bills at home here. Obviously, the AFC North will be very competitive again this year outside of maybe Pittsburgh, but they could surprise a lot of teams here. But when you look at the rest of them, you got the Bengals, you got the Browns, and then the Ravens here. So there's going to be some really good teams inside of that here. So it's going to be a good season, a good matchup here. Really tough schedule for the Ravens here. I still think they're missing pieces at the wide receiver position that they didn't resolve here, but again, it's wait to see here. But yeah, that first week matchup against the Chiefs in Arrowhead, I think that's going to be that could really determine how this season plays out for Baltimore here. So that should be exciting. And then Cookie Boy comes back, says the Cowboys matchup for sure. I mean, dude, but honestly, if I was a Niner fan, you gotta be tired of playing the Cowboys. Y'all just handle them every single time, man. The Niners schedule looks really, really difficult. And the one matchup that I want to see is when they go to Buffalo in December and play in that cold ass weather to see how Brock Purdy does.
And it's not gonna be good.
This is a big season for Brock Purdy because he's playing for a very large contract. You just saw you've seen how the quarterbacks are getting paid, right? So as a Niner fan, are you willing to spend a max deal on a guy like Brock Purdy?
I think they have to.
You can even answer that too, T.
Yeah, I think they have to.
When we see the work that Brock Purdy has done, that same talent isn't going to be around for so long. So you're going to have to kind of rebuild that. Is Brock Purdy the guy to give that max deal to?
Yeah.
Is he worth 250 million? Is he worth that price tag?
Yeah, well, I think who was it that just recently got the contract? Jared Goff in Detroit got a huge contract. I mean, he got
Big time
paid,
contract.
and so now if you're Brock Purdy's agent, you're saying I'm gonna get paid $50 million a year because I just played in the Super Bowl, and I'm probably gonna have a great opportunity to go back to the Super Bowl again. And so I gotta say, man, I don't think the Niners have a choice. They've been playing this quarterback game for a while now, where they've been shuffling guys around, and this has got to be the guy. I mean, this has got to be the guy, and I think it'll be a great story for the last pick in the draft to get such a a big, giant $200 million contract or whatever it is. But I think he's worth it because if you think about it, how many more quarterbacks are better than he is? And that's the way the Niners are. They don't have a replacement for him, and he's been playing well. So by all means, get the guy his money, get him paid. Now, how are you going to pay him and everybody else? Well, I don't know. Good luck with that one. But they're going to have to pay him.
Yeah, and and they do have Josh Jobs. Nathan brings up Josh Jobs as the backup here, who, I mean, we all thought was going to be something until he went to Minnesota and became a nothing.
Yeah, he fizzled out.
He fizzled out after that there. But, that's going to be a tough decision for the Niners to really make. Is he going to be worth 250 north of 300 mil?
Yeah.
Because that's the president mark. If the Niners go back to the Super Bowl this year, he's going to be asking for a big contract, and rightfully so. But when you look at it, is it worth it? Are you ready to put all that money into this quarterback for the first time in a very long time?
Like I said, man, I feel like they don't have a choice. I feel like you have to, but we'll see. We'll see how it turns out, man. But yeah, I think they gotta make that choice. They gotta get in there and make that choice. This game is coming to an end. The Minnesota Timberwolves are up by 10, 92-82. This is a 1990s playoff game right now.
No one may even break 100. I don't think this score goes over 100.
No, I don't think it goes over 100 either. Jokic gets a foul. He's gonna shoot free throws. But there's 2 minutes. There's 2 minutes left. The only thing is Rudy Gobert has fouled out of the game. So they're gonna have Big Cat probably take on Jokic, Big Cat just came back in the game. So yeah, man. Wow, this is really interesting. No repeat. No going back to back. This team has been.
Hey man, just shows you how difficult it was for the Warriors to do it. I'm gonna put it out there. We're the last team to go back to back in a very long time. I'm just gonna put it out there.
Yeah.
I'm putting it out there. Before this game ends, let's talk about a little crazy subject here that took place in golf of all places here at the PGA Championship.
Okay.
So on day 2, the Masters champion, number 1 golfer in the world, Scotty Scheffler, was arrested Monday morning. There was an accident. There was a vendor who was struck by a bus at like 5 o'clock in the morning here as they were getting ready to set up for the tournament. He could not be patient and wait, so he decided to drive the same direction of the traffic, or onto oncoming traffic. Well, he clipped a detective and dragged the detective for about 10 to 15 yards before stopping, to say the least. The detective pants, were hanging down, all of this here. So it was pretty interesting here. So he goes to jail. He's booked on second degree for failing to for second degree of a police officer for hurting him. That was a felony.
He hit a police
third degree criminal mischief, which is a misdemeanor, reckless driving and disregarding traffic signals. So 3 misdemeanors and 1 felony. He then goes out and plays the rest of the tournament here.
Yeah.
So if this was you and I, we're not seeing the light of day.
No.
There's no way that we're allowed to go back to work. Can you imagine dragging a detective for 10 to 15 yards, getting booked in the morning, and then getting released to go back to work? That ain't gonna work.
This was definitely one of those phone calls.
We spending some time in jail, man.
This was definitely one of those phone calls from the head of the PGA Tour to the police department, that is, to say, hey, we need this guy to be on. We need him to make his tee time. Because in my opinion, this guy did a whole lot more than Tiger Woods did. All he did was crash his own car and cheat on his wife, which neither one of those is really a crime because he didn't hurt anybody. But this guy here,
he just hurt himself.
Yeah, pretty much. This guy here literally is taking out police officers. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And he's, he got booked. then got out right away and went right on about his business. So yeah, I think this goes to show we of the regular people delegation are tired of rich people playing games with rules that are meant for the world but somehow don't apply to them. I'm quite tired of it.
Well, here's the worst part too. Now they're saying that there may not be any body cam footage of what happened.
Yeah, I saw
so
that.
He may get off scot-free.
Right.
Like, you got to be kidding me. Every police officer that was there had body cam on. All right. That is a rule for every cop to have his body cam on. Now you're telling me that there's no evidence of this? There's no cameras at these prestige golf venues that captured any of this?
I'm telling you, it's that
don't make sense, man. It don't make sense, dude.
It's that
and
phone
then all
call.
of a sudden now all of a sudden, it's like, oh, nothing ever happened. He just dragged a detective who was trying to do a job off of a guy who just got hit by a bus and died. Like, what, dude? What is the rush, man? You're on the premises.
Yeah.
Wait,
did the guy? You said the guy died. Somebody died. What did you say?
I think he, dude, he was struck by a bus.
Well, I gotta look that up, man. Holy crap!
Yeah, the dude was struck by a bus here. Dude, here, where is it? I got the video up right now.
All right, hold on. I gotta look this. That's crazy. Are you kidding me right now?
No.
Free Scotties. Oh man, so
Yeah, the guy died.
Oh my god!
The guy died by getting hit by a bus, and this dude couldn't wait because he had to make his tee time.
Are you freaking kidding me?
I'm sure the PGA would have delayed everything because of a dead guy on their premises at a golf championship.
Oh my god!
That's why this doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't.
And I don't like the way this is being reported by sports outlets either. It's being reported as a big misunderstanding. Because
of what's being documented here. So this is why it's so interesting, is because of the fact that he dragged a detective, but there's no evidence. So what is this, a lie? You just don't go to jail and get booked on a lie. Like, come on.
If someone died from an accident. Now, was he driving the car? He was driving, correct?
Yes.
Okay, well then
Scotty Scheffler was driving that vehicle and dragged the detective.
Well, in that case, yeah, that makes no sense. That's absolutely insane, man. That's absolutely. I think we gotta change the way we do stuff here, because all we care about is money, and it's really starting to taint everything. I mean, how can a guy get in an accident with somebody who they end up getting killed, and he's back on the course to play golf as if that's more important?
Yeah. Makes no sense.
It's ridiculous. Go ahead, Jokic. Tend to your horses.
On a funny note, real quick, at the Giants game today, we all know about this Kendrick Lamar Drake, beef. Actually, it's no more. Kendrick Lamar's basically won this.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I heard the song at the stadium today. I heard it maybe at least 8-9 different times. Yeah. And there was a batter, Matt Chapman of the Giants. That's his walk-up song, and he walks up to the portion where Kendrick drops the minor part, and I'm like, oh my god! And my dad's sitting there going, man, I can make this rap song, because he goes, there's that part who goes, he's not like us, he's not like us.
Yeah.
I looked at my dad, I was like, Dad, this was a diss on Drake for being a potential pedophile.
Yeah.
Man, dude, who would have thought a diss track like Kendrick Lamar's would turn into a club banger, and two, a song that you play at a stadium?
I mean, it's almost like trap. It's like dancing on Drake's grave at this point, where all the crazy stuff that was said about him, now people aren't just hearing it, now they're dancing to it. I think Drake's gonna have to go chill out in Canada for a few months.
Here's the greatest part: like, no more Drake on the West Coast. We're done with it.
No, it's over.
No more of it.
Don't come here.
No more. Thank God.
If we see a West Coast rapper in a video with them, he's gonna have to move. It's bad. It's pretty bad. It's
all
good.
right. Well, this is it.
Yeah.
Minnesota has officially put Denver to sleep. I called it. I
You
had the
did.
Wolves in 7, so I'm 1 for 4. I love it.
Yeah.
Taj, you did take the Wolves, but you had them in 6 games.
Yep.
If they didn't screw around in games 3 and 4, I think you're looking at you calling your shot there. Um,
Losers,
for all y'all that don't
go
know,
home.
Taj, my boy
Nuggets,
T's a Laker fan.
chicken
all right?
nuggets. Go back to McDonald's next to a large fry where you belong. Go back to oblivion where the Nuggets have always been for the past 20 so or odd years. They are a garbage franchise and will continue to be so. I don't care who's on the team. Bye.
Man, I forgot Alex Rodriguez is part owner of that franchise.
Oh, Minnesota. Yeah.
Hey, let's talk about this now, or let's just talk about Ant Edwards, okay? Because he showed up in this game. You talk about a kid
pull the stats.
in a game seven on the road, impact the game, but also impact his team in a way to believe after being down 20. Because when they got down 20, he took over for a little bit. All right. And that belief was there here for it. Dude, this Minnesota Dallas matchup is going to be really good. But let's give every credit that we deserve to Ant Edwards. He handled the criticism of games 3 and 4 being lost, goes out and wins a big crucial game in game 6. He didn't even have the greatest game 5 to say. But in game 6 and 7, he absolutely did what he needed to do to get to that. He's rising to that superstar level. And this is how you do it here.
Yeah, man.
He just went into the defending champs' home and dismantled them.
And watching this game, this was them spending the first half being the team of game 3 and 4, and then spending the next half being the team of games 1 and 2. Their defensive intensity picked up, and they really played like a team. And this goes to show how top heavy some of these teams are. And what we talked about, where a team like the Denver Nuggets is great whenever they can knock down shots because they're a finesse jump shooting team. But when that defense got ratcheted up in the games that they lost, they had no answer. And this was another situation just like that in the second half. And just to prove it, look at these numbers. Remember, this team was up by 20 at one point. I believe it was in the early third or early third quarter or something like that.
Yeah.
Michael Porter Jr., 7 points. Aaron Gordon, 4 points. KCP, Contavious Caldwell-Pope, 5 points. Justin Holiday, we talked about no bench, right? 0 points. Reggie Jackson, 0 points. And Christian Brown, 5 points. Nobody got over double figures except for 2 people. Jokic with 34 and Murray with 35. That was it, folks. That was the game.
Yep.
They did an excellent job of realizing that if you can let them have as many points as they like, but if you can keep those other guys from getting loose, it doesn't matter. Their supporting cast isn't good enough.
But that's the difference between in this series here was the fact that the Wolves had a better supporting cast to help them out with that. You're not asking your supporting cast to go double digits, but if you can get 5 or 6 from each player, that adds up.
Yeah,
that adds up big time here, and that's what the Wolves were able to get today here. But I mean, let's dude, I'm excited for this, man, because Ant Edwards is gonna have a chance to go. Like, he is becoming outside of my team. This is the guy that I would pay top dollar to go watch.
Yeah,
in a heartbeat here. He is turning into that guy because the way he could jump out of the gym, the way he's not afraid to mix it up, and just the way he plays the game, right? It is a ferocious style of play that he does.
Man, so now we can actually talk about it. The Dallas Mavericks. Okay, more proof that the NBA is if they're betting the wrong way. The Dallas Mavericks against the Minnesota Timberwolves in the Western Conference Finals. If you had told the league at the beginning of the year, they would have told you we do not want that matchup. But now that we've seen these teams play and how hard they've been playing, I'm extremely excited to watch this. Kyrie Irving, Luka Doncic, against the up and coming Minnesota Timberwolves. This is going to be an extremely tough game for me to pick. And I really got to kind of think about it and go through it because I'm thinking about the matchups at the different levels. And the hard part is going to be, can they put enough people in front of, and can they guard the likes of Jokic, of Doncic? Doncic presents a whole nother type of animal. I'm really curious to see how this will shake out, man. I'm juiced. I can't even call it right now. But what do you
I'll
think
call
about
it
the
right
series?
now.
What do you think about the series?
I'm calling it right now. I'm taking the Wolves in 7. I think this will go 7 here. I think some of the matchups that do favor the Wolves that were really tough in this series that won't be so much next. I don't think Likely is going to do well against Rudy Gobert. Ant Edwards is going to trump whoever's on him. I think Mike Conley is going to compete against Kyrie Irving. I don't think he's going to outduel Kyrie, but I think he can. Here's the X factor, and it was in this series, and it's going to be in the next series. McDaniels. McDaniels has to be the second best player on the court for them to win. I don't think Dallas has an answer for Big Cat as well. On the defensive end, when you look at it, you can't. Dallas doesn't want to play two big centers, so they're not gonna go tall. Minnesota can because of the way that Big Cat can shoot. So I think the 4-5 matchup for Minnesota presents a problem for Dallas here. Yeah. Obviously, you're gonna have Ant Edwards at the 2, so he's gonna win that matchup as well. So you look at the 1-3, you look at your point guard, and you look at the forward position here. I think it goes to Dallas. I think they do have it there, but I just don't think they have enough to get past a team like this here. They just walked into the defending champ's house and took them out. Unheard of. It does not happen with a young team like that.
You know what? Just so we can make this interesting, I'm gonna take the Dallas Mavericks in 7 over the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think that they're gonna have a very hard time dealing with Luka's size. Josh McDaniels and Alexander were definitely able to bother a much smaller Jamal Murray, but those guys are light in the butt, as Charles Barkley would say. And playing against a guy who's a lot bigger, it's going to be more about leverage than it will be about activity. And so I think he's going to present a problem for them on the interior. The other thing is, I think Kyrie Irving is another guy that can kind of go off, can just go off on his own. And, trying to put Conley in that position, he's just not going to be able to guard Kyrie. That's not going to be a good matchup for them. And my problem sometimes with the Timberwolves is they almost have to play very good defense like we saw in this series. This series, mind you, this was a collective effort by them as a whole, but they won this based on their defense because their leading scorers in this game were Karl Anthony Towns and Jaden McDaniels. And the idea that they're going to continue to get 20-some points from these guys probably isn't going to happen. So they're going to have to win with defense. And so I think the Mavs have also been playing pretty darn good defense. I think that Rudy Gobert is a great defender at the rim, but is a liability offensively. And I look for the Mavericks to try to take advantage of that and try to make him do something with the ball and take the ball out of the hands of Edwards, much the way Denver did in the first half. And so we'll see how it goes. But I'm going to give the edge to Luka and Kyrie because I feel like collectively and from an offensive standpoint, they can put up and do a lot more than Edwards and I don't know who's the second scorer on their team. Karl Anthony Towns maybe,
I would probably say it's going to be Cat, but I think it's going to have to be McDaniels that needs to be the second best scorer on that team there. That's just my opinion though. I could be wrong about it. Cat may have a very big series because, you pull Likely out of the paint. The pick and roll with Rudy Gobert would be very successful in that aspect there. But again, this is a great matchup all across the board, man. I'm excited for this one.
It's gonna be good.
I think there's going to be the Celtics and Pacers may be a surprise for everybody as well. Who knows about that, but I can almost guarantee this Western Conference goes 7 games. I think it's going 7.
I'm ready. I'm so glad they're out. Tired of hearing about them, and I'm glad the Nuggets are gone. Good luck next season. And I'm looking forward to seeing some new blood because there will be a new champion this year. So it'll be interesting to see who's gonna press forward. And if we get what we want, we'll get new blood. We'll get new blood in the finals altogether, and really get something completely new to present to the fans, man. Because that's what we want. You know, we love the Currys and the LeBrons and all that, but at the end of the day, man, it's all about being able to bring something new out there that, you know, you just don't know what's going to happen next.
Exactly. Hey, real quick, I got one final thought. I got one final rant. All right, the Dodgers were in town this past week, and I didn't like the fact that there was so much blue and white in an orange and black stadium. It was very hard to muster. It was bad enough I had to watch them beat them 2 out of 3 times. But Giants fans, whoever watches this, you should be embarrassed of yourself for not selling out that stadium and allowing those. You know what? I'm trying to be cool here. I can't say it. Can't even say it. For allowing them to try to overtake our stadium and we're not going to do anything about it drives me absolutely berserk. So this should not happen again.
We should be fighting.
All my Giants fans, we need to converge down. I know we don't like going to LA. I know that place sucks. But if they're going to take over our stadium, we going down there and taking over theirs. And we ain't leaving like they do in the 7th inning, okay? So this cannot happen again. And here's the other problem I have. At the game today, there's a little song, and at the end of the song, you're supposed to say Dodgers suck. No one said it. Drove me absolutely nuts.
What?
I said it like 4 times, and it was like so quiet around me, man. It bothers me.
You should have told everybody, hey, what is going on right now? What's happening?
I looked at it, and there, you know what's funny? There was a Dodger fan sitting behind me in a jacket, and I made sure they knew about it.
Yeah.
But golly, man, that's all. I had to say that. You know what? Giants fans are like Kendrick Lamar, you know, and the Dodger fans are like Drake. All right. I don't care if Kendrick Lamar's from Southern California. Yeah. All right. He's a Giants guy, and I'm gonna say that. All right, Drake, you're a Dodger fan, and everyone else in Dodger land is a Drake fan as well. So screw all y'all. I'm done.
All right. Well, on that note, folks, we're going to finish off this show. We appreciate y'all joining us. Another great day in the NBA playoffs. The Western and Eastern Conference finals start next week, Tuesday and Wednesday. So we will definitely be talking about that in the next show. And we appreciate y'all joining. Make sure you hit the like button on the video. Subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and subscribe.
Do it.
We appreciate it. And y'all have a great Sunday evening.
Have a good one, y'all.